All right, let's get into it. You've heard the phrase 1,000 times. Everything happens for a reason. You've seen it on coffee mugs, Instagram posts, and that one friend's fridge magnet that's been there so long it's basically part of the appliance. It sounds nice, right, neat, comforting, like the universe has this giant master plan and you're just a chess piece being moved into place. But let's be real for a second. When you're in the middle of the storm, when your chest is tight and your whole world feels like it's falling apart, those words don't feel like wisdom. They feel like a punchline you didn't ask for. They feel hollow because in that moment you don't want reasons. You want relief. You want answers. You want to know why you're getting kicked when you're already down. And that's where Buddhist wisdom hits differently. It's not about some cosmic vending machine that spits out perfect explanations if you just wait long enough. It's not about believing that there's a magical script written for you. It's about understanding that life, every twist, every cut, every moment of joy and pain is not random, and it's not guaranteed to make sense on your timeline. It's about how you meet it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Things don't happen for a reason in the way people think. They happen, period. The reason is the meaning you choose to make from it, and that choice, that's your power. That's where life changes. I want you to think about the hardest thing you've ever been through. Maybe it was a breakup that shattered you. Maybe it was losing someone you love. Maybe it was a failure so humiliating it made you question if you were even cut out for the life you dreamed of. Now, ask yourself, who were you before that moment? And who are you now? If you're honest, you're not the same. You can't be. Pain rewires you. It forces you to face parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Buddhism teaches that suffering isn't a glitch in the system, it is the system. The first noble truth says life is suffering, not in a depressing, give up, now kind of way, but in a wake up kind of way. Because once you accept that life is never going to be pain-free, you stop wasting your energy wishing it was. You start using your energy to understand the pain. And once you understand it, you can use it. That's the difference between people who get crushed by life and people who are forged by it. One says, why me? The other says, what now? Here's the thing, most people want the reward without the risk. They want wisdom without the wounds. They want strength without the struggle. But life doesn't work like that. The fire that burns you is the same fire that can shape you, if you stop running from it. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're walking through a forest and you trip over a root. You fall, scrape your knee, and you're pissed. You curse the root. You blame the path. You're so focused on how unfair it is that you don't even notice. The root was part of a tree holding up the entire hillside you're walking on. That root, the one you hated a minute ago, kept the ground from sliding out from under you. But you don't see that in the moment. You just see the pain. That's life. You don't see the full picture until later if you're paying attention. And that's the kicker. Most people aren't. Most people are so busy screaming at the root that they never see the hillside. They never see the hidden protection. They never see the lesson. Buddhism has this idea that nothing is inherently good or bad, it just is. It's your mind that slaps a label on it. The same event can destroy one person and awaken another. And the difference, it's not luck, it's perspective. Now I'm not gonna lie, perspective isn't automatic. It's a skill. It's something you have to train like a muscle. You train it by sitting with the pain instead of numbing it. You train it by asking, what can I learn here? Even when every part of you wants to run away. You train it by refusing to let one chapter define your whole damn book. And yeah, it's hard. It's so much easier to binge your distractions, drown in your vices, or hide in bitterness. That's why most people do. But if you're still listening to this, I don't think you're most people. I think you've felt the pull. I think some part of you knows there's a version of you on the other side of your struggle that's sharper, lighter, freer. And you want to meet them. So here's the truth you need to tattoo on your mind. The reason isn't out there somewhere waiting for you. The reason is built in what you choose to do next. You lost, good. Find your bearings, you failed, good. Study the wreckage, you got knocked flat, good. Feel the ground, push back up. Every single thing that's happened to you is raw material. You can build with it or bury yourself under it. That's the choice. And the wild thing is once you start choosing to build, once you stop fighting the fact that life is going to throw storms at you, no matter what, you stop wasting your strength resisting and start using it creating. Buddhist wisdom says you don't have to cling to anything, not the joy, not the pain, not the identity you've built around either one. Everything changes, everything ends, and that's not a tragedy. That's the design. That's why you can reinvent yourself 1,000 times if you want to. That's why you can take the worst thing that's ever happened to you and turn it into the thing that made you unstoppable. So the next time you hear everything happens for a reason, don't just roll your eyes. Don't swallow it like some empty platitude. Make it real. Make the reason. Decide it. Shape it. Own it. Because here's the shocker. The universe doesn't hand out meaning. It hands out moments. Meaning is your job. And if you can do that, if you can train yourself to meet everything, the good and the brutal, with the same question, how can I use this? Then life stops being something that happens to you and starts being something you create in real time. Now, go make it mean something. Let's keep going, because if I leave it here, it's just going to feel like another motivational hit you listen to for 10 minutes before you slide right back into autopilot. And that's not the point. The point is to burn this so deep into your thinking that you can't look at your life the same way again. So here's the part that most people skip when bad things happen. You don't have to instantly turn them into some shiny lesson. You don't have to fake smile and say, it's all for the best. That's not Zen. That's denial dressed up as optimism. Zen doesn't tell you to avoid the pain. It tells you to meet it head on, without adding an extra layer of drama on top. Think about it. Something happens, you lose your job, you get betrayed. You miss out on something you thought you needed, and right after the event, your mind starts spinning its own sequel. This means I'm worthless. This means I'll never get ahead. This means the world's against me. And suddenly, the event isn't the problem anymore. Your story about it is. That's the trap. That's the part that makes suffering feel endless, because you're not just dealing with reality anymore. You're dealing with the version of reality your mind has been cooking up on loop like a bad soap opera. Buddhism has this concept called the second arrow. The first arrow is the actual pain, the thing that happened. The second arrow is the pain you cause yourself by obsessing over it, replaying it, resenting it. You can't always dodge the first arrow, but you sure as hell don't have to keep firing the second one into your own chest. So, when people say everything happens for a reason, I hear it differently now. I hear everything happens, you choose the reason. You can turn it into a chain around your neck or a tool in your hand. Same event, different outcome. And I know you might be thinking, yeah, but some things are so brutal, there's no way to make them positive. And you're right. Some things will never feel positive. Some pain will never be pretty. But here's the thing, you don't have to make it pretty. You just have to make it useful. Look back at your life. Every major change, every breakthrough, every deep shift in who you are came from friction. It came from something breaking, something ending, something hurting. Without it, you'd still be the version of you that didn't know better. You'd still be living in the little box you thought was your whole world. I'm not saying you should thank the pain. I'm saying you should use it. Because if you don't, it will use you. It'll turn you bitter. It'll make you smaller. It'll chain you to a story where you're the victim. And that's a hard role to crawl out of once you start playing it. And yeah, let's be brutally honest here, some people stay there forever. They build a whole identity around the thing that hurt them, and then they guard it like it's treasure. You know why? Because it gives them an excuse. It explains why they don't try, why they don't change, why they keep settling. It's easier to cling to the pain you know than face the unknown without it. But here's where the road splits. You can keep polishing that excuse until the day you die, or you can drop it and see what else you're capable of. And I promise you, there's more in you than you've been using. Way more. But you won't find it in comfort. You'll find it in the moments that scare the hell out of you. That's why Zen talks about impermanence so much. Not just because everything ends, but because that's the only way anything new can start. If nothing broke, if nothing ended, if nothing forced you to change, you'd never move. You'd never grow. You'd be stuck in the same loop, thinking it was life, when really it's just a cage you've decorated. So maybe everything happens for a reason. Isn't a promise, maybe it's a challenge, a dare from life itself. Here's this thing you didn't ask for. Here's this pain you didn't see coming. Here's this ending you never planned for. Now what? That now what? Is where your real life begins. That's where you either collapse or get creative. That's where you stop waiting for someone to fix it and start shaping the damn reason yourself. And maybe that reason isn't world-changing. Maybe it's not even something you can explain to other people. Maybe it's just you deciding, this will not be the thing that breaks me. That's enough. That's everything. So, next time life throws you into the fire, remember you don't have to love it. You just have to work with it. You just have to keep your hands open enough to grab whatever meaning you can pull from the ashes. And if you keep doing that again and again, you'll wake up one day and realize you've been shaping your life all along, and that's when everything happens for a reason, stops being a cliche and starts being the way you live. All right, here's where we bring it home. You've heard the phrase, everything happens for a reason, your whole life. Sometimes it's been a comfort, sometimes it's made you want to throw a chair. But here's the truth, after everything we've unpacked, the reason isn't some magical secret hidden in the clouds, waiting for you to stumble across it. The reason is the meaning you carve out of the chaos. The reason is the choice you make when life drops you to your knees and dares you to get back up. Life isn't going to slow down and hand you clarity. The universe isn't going to knock on your door and say, here's why this happened. It's going to keep moving, storms and sunshine both, and it's your job to decide who you are in the middle of all of it. You can cling to the wound, wear it like a badge, and let it shrink your life. Or you can take that same wound and make it your fuel. Everything that's happened to you, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every failure, every moment you thought was the end is raw material. You can build from it or be buried under it. And if you've made it this far, I already know which one you're capable of. So stop waiting for the why to drop from the sky. Stop wasting years in the waiting room of your own life. The reason you're searching for isn't out there. It's in the way you stand up after the fall. It's in the way you refuse to be broken. It's in the way you keep moving, keep shaping, keep turning the mess into something that matters. Because when you finally decide to own that, that's when the phrase, everything happens for a reason, stops sounding like a fortune cookie and starts sounding like the truth you live by. Now go make the reason.